As an Emmy Award-winning news anchor for CBS affiliate WFSB in Hartford, Connecticut, Kara Sundlun is accustomed to reporting other people's stories. When she was 17, she was the story. Sundlun made headlines and was even featured in People when she filed a paternity suit against her biological father, then Rhode Island Governor Bruce Sundlun. The two reconciled and later appeared together at a news conference.
It took a while, but I think things will happen for the best.
You can't wave a wand and have miracles happen. That happens in fairy books, but not in real life.
Kara Sundlun's book, Finding Dad from Love Child to Daughter, is about her personal journey to locate her father and the power of forgiveness. Good morning.
Good morning to all of you.
What a story. So it is quite a story. So did you know who your father was growing up?
My mom had always told me that your biological father is a man named Bruce Sundlun, but it wasn't until I started out the book that I woke up in the middle of the night as a CNN news anchor was announcing election returns, and she mentioned businessman Bruce Sundlun almost beats incumbent Governor Dupreet. And I was just stunned, and I woke my mom up and I'm like, look, is that him? Is that him? And that was the first time I'd ever seen a picture of him.
So you were 13 at the time?
Yes.
And then you sat with that for a while.
Yeah, I didn't quite know what to do other than it awakened this need there was already a hole from being fatherless, but I wanted to find that other half of me. That's what it felt like. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. I didn't know how, and the universe sometimes takes care of things. I happened to walk by a television again 2 years later, only this time the news anchor said that he won.
Yeah.
And to me, I was like, well, I could dial 1-555-1212 and write the address down, and I did. I sat down with my best friend, Dana, and I wrote a letter to him.
But listen, this is part of the letter, Kara, that I went, whoa. I think you would be proud of how I turned out. If you choose to disregard this letter, I assure you it will not end here. And I'm thinking, if I was the governor listening to this, I go, who is this kid? I would be very turned off by that.
Yeah, well, I think that was my 17-year-old self. Well, actually, that was my, at that point, it was 15, writing a letter and wanting to get his attention.
Yes.
And I think if I was an adult, I wouldn't write it that way today, but I really wanted to get his attention. I really wanted him to write back to the letter. That didn't happen.
And he didn't, yeah.
He didn't.
He wanted none of it.
Yeah, none of it.
He sat on all this, and you know, this is a time where my mom and him had already been through their own journey, where he had given her some money and settled out of court in the 70s and kind of like, don't call me again.
Yeah.
And there was no DNA. Eventually, I got that secret meeting.
Yes.
I ended up cold calling him at the State House, and he agreed to a secret meeting, and we got the DNA test, and we really connected at that secret meeting, which I think is what drove me to say things are going to be okay, even though it didn't look that way.
No, it's a great story, because you're met at the airport, taken to a secret location, and you and he meet, and it's very stilted. It's a very stilted kind of conversation, but you still felt something from him, even though he wasn't giving you anything at that point.
Right. I felt that connection, and that connection that I was hoping for. And I think Sigmund Freud writes that there's no greater need in childhood than the protection of a father. And that's really what I was looking for. I was hoping, like, if I can just make him see me, maybe he'll accept me. And
but skeptics would say, listen, you came from a mother, single mother,
yeah,
and now your dad is a governor.
Yeah.
He's very wealthy. Would you have been so persistent if he wasn't that? And I worried about your mother during this time.
I give my mom a lot of credit, because she always thought I might want to know him. There she is, when I'm little, reading books to me by herself, and did it all on her own. She was a business owner. And I think it's a valid question. And there were people back then who said, hey, you know, he's a man of means. He should have given all this to, he should have done back child support. When my father eventually said, after the news came out, and I think that's what he needed the public story to be the birth announcer, and he said, listen, I want you to come live with me so I can get to know you. Yeah. And anything else, though, I'll help you pay for college. Anything else, I'm just going to treat you like the rest of my children. And for me, that acceptance was way more valuable than sitting there and fighting about, squabbling about any kind of money. So I think if he was a school teacher or anything else, that need to know your identity outweighs who that person is.
Yes, did you have to forgive him?
I did. And that was the choice, I think, why I got the happy ending, which is why I wrote the book. Forgiveness, I don't think it's condoning what happens. Forgiveness is letting it go. Because when he said, come live with me, I need to get to know you, I then had to say, okay, I'm not going to spend the next 18 years beating you up for what you did for the first 18 years. And that's why we could have ice cream together and realize that we both...
Chocolate soda, chocolate ice cream.
Chocolate soda, chocolate ice cream. That's why he could walk me down the aisle and be there for that.
Walk you down the aisle to my former TV husband, I have to say. I think you and Dennis are an excellent couple.
Thank you.
I think you've both chosen well.
And you know, that was a great moment. Dennis became very close to my father, and I think
Dennis
House, yes, from Gail's old TV station.
Yes.
I think that there's 43% of kids now living in a house without a father. That's according to the U.S. Census. So you've got all these fractured relationships. And for me, it was a decision I had to make. If you really want that relationship with the parent and it's going to be transformational for you, then I think you have to take a leap of faith and you go for it. And you got to forgive, because you can't spend that time worrying.
Good job, Kara Sundlun.
Kara
Really.
Sundlun, what a wonderful message.
Good job.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank you.
And your brother's here.
My brother's here in the green room.
Stuart.
Can we take it? There we go.
Yes, there's
Full
Stuart.
circle with the brother.
Finding Dad comes out in paperback November 11th.